more importantly, we can live a meaningful life and get stupid rich or wealthy by helping people. And mobile home parks is a place where we can go in and clean them up, make them clean, safe places to live. We can work with people. We can work with charities. We can do all the things that we love to do to make a difference.
All right, guys. Hey, welcome to another episode of the Practical Wealth Show. I have a special guest today, Sam Sells, and we're going to talk about investing with community impact and then, his growth to building Wild Mountain Capital. And, he wants to invest in what matters. I'm going to let him kind of tell his story. But as we get going, we're going to always say successive clues. You're going to hear some clues, and then we're going to tell you how he's, making money and making a difference. So let me tell you about Sam. Sam is a retired U.S. Air Force officer. So thank you for your service. Okay. And a combat veteran who founded Wild Mountain Capital in 2018 with his hero dad. Sam traveled globally with the Air Force Special Operations as an international specialist. He saw poverty. See, this is a side, Sam. People haven't really seen real poverty here in the U.S. They don't know. No.
Nope.
Our poor people have iPhones, right? So not all of them, but I see homeless people with iPhones and $150 earbuds, so okay.
Yeah.
And even some of it, when you look at the border stuff, they're crossing with iPhones and earbuds. They're probably more expensive than the cheap ones I get from Five Below. So I'm just saying. All right, so all right, I digress. All right, so let me keep going. So I get motivated. So this motivated Sam to start Wild Mountain to transform neglected, unsafe, mismanaged assets, not into just affordable housing, but into housing that is affordable. Okay. And so we're going to talk about that. Sam, tell him what I didn't tell him, and welcome to the Practical Wealth.
Yeah, thank you. Very, very appreciative. And that last statement you said, not just affordable housing. So there's a legal term called affordable housing. We call it Big A, affordable housing. That means the Section 8 or the state has sanctioned it as officially affordable housing, and it's only made available to people who meet a certain income threshold, and preferably people who don't have jobs or are chronically underemployed or whatever, but very, very low income. In fact, it could hurt those people to get jobs, which I think is ironic, because then they lose out on their ability to get rent. And so what we focus on is those naturally affordable places that is really missed the mark, where the government is only helping the lowest of the low, but they're not helping all the other people who are out there trying to get a job, trying to work hard, trying to live their lives. Instead, they're stuck working 2-3 jobs, just trying to pay their bills and not get evicted and everything else. So we focus on that. And why? Why do we focus on that? While I was in the Air Force, I spent a little over a decade in global health. Before that, I was a firefighter. So the last decade or so of my career, I spent traveling around the world, 5 different continents, working with foreign militaries, foreign governments, helping them to create sustainable healthcare systems, mostly via what military members would call CASEVAC, or air evacuation, basically helping people our countries use little airplanes or our helicopters that they purchase from the State Department, and use those to pick patients up off the battlefield. But I did a lot of other stuff too. I helped build 100-bed and 200-bed facilities, designed, worked with engineers from day one, designing these facilities, constructing these facilities, working with Médecins Sans Frontières. I can't speak French, but Doctors Without Borders.
Okay.
Working with those guys and others to design these facilities for specific purposes in West Africa. So during that time of working and seeing what true poverty is, I mean, you want to see true poverty, go to Chad. All right, go to N'Djamena, Chad, land in N'Djamena, Chad, stay at the Hilton with green grass, and look across the river into Cameroon, and see the people there, and then leave the city of N'Djamena and go out and see the people in huts or in nothing. Go to Afghanistan and see the people in, where women aren't allowed to go out, or, they can't show their faces, or, this crazy things that happen. And it's, I digress there. But
Mhm.
being around those places, being around those people, working my darndest to help them, I realized something, that when we align incentives where there's profit, or president or somebody of the high ranks, where they are going to make money, and they see that they can make money, and it helps people at the same time, then it becomes sustainable, repeatable, and the U.S. government doesn't need to sit there and fund it because of the administration, whichever administration in office that wants to see another nation grow and become an ally. If I can go there and I can show them, hey, if you do this way, you will create a profit, and you'll make a difference in your community and your country. And if that happens, boom, they're going to do it all the time, regardless if you're there or not, because they make money, right? So it's kind of like here, right? If you didn't make money being a doctor, you got paid $0 to be a physician, would you still be a physician? Most likely you're going to say, no, I'm going to go do something different, right? Because you need to put food
And
on.
there's nothing wrong with that. See,
Yeah.
profit is a good thing. So there's certain languaging out there. I think Hollywood has been at war with small business. Like the last thing I saw where the business owner was the hero was like Atlas Shrugged. Last book I read.
Yeah. And that's not that Hollywood's not a fan of Atlas
No,
Shrugged. Right?
it's not. Yeah, I know, and
No.
not a fan of profits. Right? They think profits, but profits are, if you're providing a service, profit is your reward for serving people. And I think
That's it.
people have capitalism. I was telling somebody yesterday, I was having this thing. Capitalism is misinterpreted because it was named by its enemy, Karl Marx.
Mm-hmm.
Because F.A. Hayek said capitalism is an ever expanding system of cooperation among strangers, right?
Yeah.
In serving people. And so what people think is capitalism is really corporatism, right? So, or crony capitalism, and it's not. And so you really haven't seen capitalism. So because if we were to, that's why people, and we don't even have a good form of it, we're still buried in most, but people will tie themselves to rafts to get here, because you can own private property, because you can work and create a profit. But I think if you can instill that in people, and make it sustainable, then, because you can't depend on the government will change hands. You gotta, like I said, if you want, if you can, not to go off on a libertarian tangent, if you can give a person, you teach, you give them a fish, you feed them for a day, you teach them to fish, you feed them for a lifetime.
Yeah.
And I think too much times we are involved in giving a fish.
Yeah, so I took that. So there's a book called The Ugly American. Great book about diplomacy. I mean, there's Henry Kissinger's book about diplomacy, but this book I loved about diplomacy, because it's like, how Americans do things. And I saw this firsthand. I'd be in N'Djamena, Chad. I've been there a couple of times. I've been lots of other places. Liberia is one of my favorite places to go. It's on the West Coast, and they speak English because I speak English. And you have these Americans who come in and they're like, "Oh, I'm from such and such hospital. We're going to give you this $1 million, CAT scan machine or MRI machine, whatever it is, right?" And the people there are like, "Oh, thank you so much." And what that is the hospital's trying to get rid of it because they bought a new one and they needed a tax deduction. So they're trying to get rid of it, and they're giving it to these countries. And the countries are like, "Okay, great. This is so wonderful." Me, I'm on the healthcare side, and I'm thinking, those people from such and such hospital realize that you only get power for 3 hours a day. And the power you get is not powerful enough to support this MRI machine. And the locals are like, "Sam, shh, quiet. If we turn off the spigot, we'll turn off the spigot. We're going to sell this thing." Or we're going to put a big tarp on it, close it up. And as soon as these guys come back, we're going to unveil it. We're going to put a patient in there we're going to, do these XY things. So they think we're using it and they'll give us more stuff. I'm like, okay, I got you. I see where you're going now.
Right.
Because Americans have no idea. We just think that, oh, they're poor, they need stuff, and stuff is the answer. No, stuff is not the answer.
Right.
The answer is a system that enables people to be creative, to use ingenuity, to make money, to generate a profit. And when people generate a profit, it's sustainable and repeatable. Why does Hollywood do all this stuff that's anti-capitalistic? Because it works and it makes a profit. They are using the capitalistic system to talk trash about capitalism because it works.
Right.
It's what sells, right? What is the news? Why do the news stories tell the news stories that they do? Because they sell, right? And if we're the ones buying that stuff and we complain about it, stop buying it.
Right. That's right.
Stop buying it. So anyhow, I try to take that systematic approach and look at, affordable housing in America, where we have the government with a very dysfunctional system that is very difficult to get approved for grants, and it's very difficult to do these things. And grants are only good for, building brand new places, like the opportunity zones. Great if you're building brand new construction, but unless you're spending $70,000 a door, it doesn't work. So what happens is unintended consequences of policy is you're funding new growth, but you're leaving behind communities that currently exist. And so you have a community and there's crime and there's these other things, and no institutional money is coming in there. No outside investors are coming in there because there's no incentive to come in there, and it's hard work. And why would you go do something really hard to make money when you can go do something way easier and make money? Right? And we're all humans. And so the government is there to help fix things when the incentives aren't in place. So like tax reductions and so forth. So what we have done and been able to do is take on heavily distressed assets that are in crime areas, not heavy crime, because I don't want my people to get shot either. But we'll clean the property up. So like one property, we just got a report back saying that crime decreased by 70% in the first 3 months of our ownership.
Wow.
70%.
In the area.
In that complex and in the area right around it.
Okay, nice.
Yeah. Because if criminals are living in our place, they're going out and doing crime, and they're getting their buddies to do crime with them, right? And then they're coming back and they're bringing that here. When we bought that property, the first time I drove there, I saw a drug deal. I saw out in the open area, we saw guys stealing stuff out of the flower beds and throwing it in the back of their truck. And we're like, is that yours? And they're just throwing stuff in their truck and taking off. This was before we bought it. The swimming pool had been full of sludge, hadn't been used in 6 years. They couldn't have community events. This is 180 units in Dallas, Fort Worth. And they couldn't have community events because everyone broke out in fights and gang fights or whatever fights, right? 6 months later, cleaned up, pool was beautiful, all kinds of stuff done, totally renovated the exterior, renovating the interiors, crime dropped. Learning outcomes for the kids went up because schools are based on transientness of their populations. We could get really detailed into how learning outcomes went up. I could talk about that for probably an hour or two. Not time here, but all these things happened because somebody was able to show that we can come in there for a profit, make a difference, improve lives, keep the property affordable without having to go get grants and incentives and everything else, which is exactly our point. I want to show people that you can make money as an investor, changing lives, improving communities, and making a difference.
Wow. There's so much you said there. It's like psychologically of why that happened. I mean, if you give, because people are people. So I don't care where you are because it's like the few that are in those crime areas. It's not the majority of the people. They're not all, they're just held hostage by that people. So if you'll give people a safe corridor to come home to, a nice place to live, some people are trifling and they'll wear it out. But, if you stay on top of it and kind of help create new behaviors, hey, this is your place, you got to keep it up or you got to go.
Yeah. That's it. And we take it a step further.
Okay.
So I'll just tell you a quick story. Kathy, at this apartment complex, since we're talking about this one in particular, we have 20-something properties. So at this complex, Kathy has cancer. It progresses, and doctors give her 2 months left to live. Okay. She is now bedridden. She cannot work. She gets fired from her job. She can't work. If you work at an hourly job, you have no sick leave. So they fired her, right? I don't know, McDonald's, whatever she was working. So she has no way to pay rent. Now, by law, as an owner of an apartment complex, I cannot allow people to live there for free. That's the law. Because what you offer one person, you have to offer everybody.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
So what are most apartment owners going to do? They're going to start the eviction process. They're going to feel terrible about it. Most people will feel terrible about evicting a woman who has 2 months left to live, who can't work. But now you're like, the law is telling me I have to evict her. So I'm either going to turn a blind eye and pretend and then hope nobody calls me on it, or I'm going to evict her. It's going to take 2 months anyways, and by then she's probably dead. But you just stressed her out significantly and her family. So what do? We are vertically integrated. We're running the property management. The property manager reaches out and says, hey, Kathy has cancer. She just lost her job. She can't make rent. What do you guys want to do? My asset manager says, okay, let me talk to Jesse, my brother Jesse, who runs all of our operations.
Mm-hmm.
He's like, oh yeah, talk to nonprofits, because we work with 20-something nonprofits. Like, talk to Rainwater Charities there in Dallas, and so will take care of her rent. So will take care of food and get her moved around wherever she needs to go. And let's contact the family and make sure they're included. Cool. A few phone calls are made. Her rent taken care of. Her utilities are taken care of, so the utilities don't cut her off.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Somebody's bringing food by for her every day and making sure she's fed and taken care of. And she's, instead of stressed out, worn out, dying in an apartment complex, she is taken care of for the last 2 months of her life. Now, did that make a difference in her life? Yes, absolutely. Right. Did it make a difference in her family's life? Yes, absolutely. Did I have to break the law? No. Did I have to evict her? No. Why more apartment owners don't reach out to charities to help people, I don't know, but they just don't. I don't think they must not know how to do that or what, but we do. We do the extra work.
I don't think they know. I'm because my sister's a social worker, so I know there's stuff out there like that, but you really need, for lack of a better word, a care coordinator that will reach out to coordinate. It's like a healthcare. Well, that's healthcare, right? You can coordinate the care amongst all that stuff, and you got to. That's a thought process, though. Logistically,
it's a thought process.
Yeah.
And I was a hospital administrator. I know about coordinators and something, but it's just been our policy. It has always been this way. We built our company to make a difference in people's lives.
Yeah.
And so we just think differently. We're thinking, okay, how can I take care of this person and improve their lives without losing my shirt? Right. And so did it cost us anything? No, it just cost us time and effort. Did we make more money? Yeah, we actually made more money by doing what is right, because we got 2 months of rent we wouldn't have gotten. Okay. Did we do that for 2 months worth of rent? No, we have 180 units there. We had 1,200 something units. Like, one person not paying rent for 2 months is not going to hurt us. But our investors made more money because we took the time and made the effort to take care of our residents. Why our collections are always really high for the neighborhoods we're in compared to other to our competitors because we just do the work to take care of our people. Some people you cannot help. They will refuse to work with any charity. They'll refuse to work with Women in Crisis or one of the numerous religious charities. Most charities are religious in nature. Christian, Islamic, Jewish, whatever. We will work with them and help, but some people refuse that help. They won't do it. And so they do have to get evicted until they learn how to live like good humans,
Right. Which is, everybody can't help everybody.
You can't help everybody.
Yeah. I mean, because sometimes, what's the Bible say? Poor will always be among us. So sometimes people you can't really, they got to want help. Like you can't push a rope. Somebody said to me one time, you can't push a rope. So you got to be, I'll try to pull you up, but I can't push your rope, so, but that is brilliant. So, because from a business standpoint, you can go into seriously undervalued place because nobody is too dangerous for them. So they don't want to be bothered.
Right.
Right. Being in that, because I know I'm from North Philly, right? So I know what you're the same type of places that you're talking about. And I don't want to be bothered. I'm from there. I don't go and stay. I just go, hey, how you doing? All right. Got to go. And
yeah.
So I'm 60 now. Now so I'm removed from it, but I'm familiar, right? And because we had a supermarket, we were in the hood. My family grew up in the supermarket. So my dad, we'd run deliveries up in the high-rise projects, right? But most people don't want to go there. So my dad was delivering in the mid 70s. So way before all this newfangled stuff, delivering to high-rise senior homes, where they could call in, we would shop, so we're talking about, what's it called? That not Shopify, Instacart.
Yeah.
Instacart 50 years ago, he was doing, but for a profit, because he was an entrepreneur trying to solve problems.
Yeah.
And so that's the lesson, guys, so one of the things that we, Sam will say, success leaves clues. And one of the things that we talk about, and I think this will probably go towards your criteria of locating places. But I think it's great you said tell how you make money. So this is what, if they worked with you, where their funds are going. You're really, helping people. But the three things we talk about, Sam, is invest in what you know, or invest in knowing. So knowing is knowing operators. Yeah. Okay. If you're not the active person in the thing, invest in what you do is you invest in knowing. I think, tell me if I'm wrong, you invest in what you can control or influence the outcome of.
Yes. Very much so.
And cash flows. Okay. And don't chase returns. You don't just roll the dice and hope it works out.
That's it. We don't typically do 3-year deals and hope in 3 years the economy is doing great. That works out wonderful if the 3 years is 2021,
right,
or 2006. It works out terrible if the 3 years is 2008 or 2022, where commercial real estate is losing 30% of its value, and then you lost money, but you have to sell because that's what people want. We are interested in more longer term holds. The reason is wealth comes from long term holding, not from flipping. All right, I flipped a lot of homes. I never got wealth from flipping homes. Commercial real estate, longer hold. Yeah, that's where it came. Right. We are operators. We are true operators. So we own the construction company that works for us. And we run that, manage that. We do hundreds of units every year. We do mobile home parks and apartment communities. Mobile home parks are the best profitable endeavor we've ever done. We've even done storage before. Mobile home parks beats storage in our experience so far. But more importantly, we can live a meaningful life and get stupid rich or wealthy by helping people. And mobile home parks is a place where we can go in and clean them up, make them clean, safe places to live. We can work with people. We can work with charities. We can do all the things that we love to do to make a difference.
Right.
That all came, to me, years ago sitting in Chad, looking at these people and thinking these guys are hustling, trying to make a living, but it will never matter because they're going to go back home to a mud hut. And the dollar they made over this past week isn't going to get them anywhere. And until the leadership of the country understands how to help these people and make money doing it, it's never going to happen. That's just it. And so I, was tired of being away from my family. It's been 1,200 days or so away from my wife and kids. And I was like, I need to do something here. And we designed, my dad, my brother and I, we just said, okay, we want to make a difference. This is what we know. We grew up poor. We understand poor. We understand the systems. We paid to learn. We got a coach, mentors, books, everything we could learn about commercial real estate, and then eventually syndication. And then 6 years ago, 2018, we jumped in. We took that knowledge and we added action, and knowledge plus action equals results. Mm-hmm. And so we took the knowledge that we paid for and time, money, effort, and then we put action in. And then it's been a crazy journey ever since. And it's been difficult, but that's what we wanted. We wanted difficult. We wanted the challenge. We wanted to prove to others that, we're good people, right? You're a good person, Curtis. Why would you invest in a company or in a way where your money is going to be used for purposes that you don't approve of, that don't align with you, that you would not do?
Right.
Right. But because the return's good, you invest there and you're not really knowing how your money is going to be spent. This is how we've been trained, taught, and educated to just invest in things that give good returns. Well, why not measure returns by the people that are affected by those, the process of earning that money.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Right.
That's beautiful. How do you see because the commercial market has been depressed because they're investing, hoping to drive the price up and cash your money out. So where do you see any softness in what you're doing? If you not to make, I know nobody has a working crystal ball, but like, do you see the opportunity? How long do you see opportunity in what you're talking about?
So right now is a fantastic time to buy. We got sent a deal, $43 million. We were looking at it and, looked at it with some partners, some institutional partners, and said, hey guys, what do you think about this? And they're like, we have to be at these returns, which are way higher than what returns had to be 2 years ago. So people were jumping in at the top of the market and they were happy with, a 6%, 8% return. And then 30% of the deals got wiped out and investors have lost hundreds of millions of dollars. Mm. We never played that game. Our game was always, can I create $10 million of profit here? That way, if things go to hell, we're fine and our investors are fine. Mm-hmm. And so that's been what's protected. So now we're looking at this deal and it's on the market for 43 and we came back at 38, $5 million under asking price. And I told the broker this morning, I said, hey, we are way off what you guys want. And he said, please send it in anyways. Okay. It's a great time to buy. It's just a great time to buy. Millionaires will be made right now because you're buying at the bottom of the market, or it may go down a little bit more, but it's not going to have another 30% reduction. Right.
And this is like total, like just, I want you to hear that this is if you're an investor, not as a potential investor with him, but let's say you're building your own little portfolios or buying mobile homes. This is how you should think. This is how you're thinking. I won't say how you should, but this is how you look at the market.
That's exactly right. And if somebody's selling right now, there's only two reasons why they're selling right now. Either one, they were dumb, no offense, and they were on the short-term money train, right? Mm-hmm. Which sells really well, but just gets people in tons of trouble. So in good times, everybody wants quick cash. Everybody wants Chip and Joanna gains. We want to just flip that house and make a bunch of money and then ride off in the sunset with all of our money. As it turns out in commercial real estate, that only works in great times, right? You can still make money with short sales right now. I'm not saying you can't, but the tried and true method that has made millionaires and billionaires, tons of bees, is long-term holds. like buy at or under market and then hold that thing through all the troughs and the peaks and everything else and enjoy the cash flow. Cash flow is what pays your bills. It's what keeps us alive. It's what makes us free. No amount of money in equity will ever make you free, but cash flow will. So we are seeing things in the marketplace come out, and they're either being sold because somebody told their investors one thing and now they have to deliver, and their investors are going to lose a lot of money. Number two is they had variable rate bridge debt, short-term debt, and that debt is expiring, or it's already expired and they are in default, and the lenders aren't willing to negotiate because the lenders have investors that they promise to flip the deals and give them their money back in 2 years.
Mm.
And their lenders, their investors are saying, well, I could be making 25% and charging people extortionist rates right now because people are hurting. I want my money back. And what happens is that's forcing people into foreclosure. I just saw this morning Blackstone, who owns, I don't know, $7 trillion worth of real estate.
Mm-hmm.
They just sent some of their property to foreclosure.
Wow.
So it's not just little guys. And I hear and I see people saying, oh, well, syndicators, they're stupid. They're losing all these deals. I'm like, yeah, some syndicators were stupid and they lost hundreds of millions of dollars. But even Blackstone, the most savvy, professional, largest owners of real estate in the world, are losing projects, period. So that's it. Short term.
So think long range, right? And
Mm-hmm.
then focus on, so tell them about your projects, about Wild Mountain, and maybe why you're different and how you help people that qualify to be having conversation with you.
Yeah. So we do, right now, we primarily do 506C offerings. We do syndicate. We also work with institutional partners and through joint ventures. So if you're a family office or an institutional partner and you want to have an impact and make money at the same time, then we would love to talk to you. And the same goes for accredited investors. We do occasionally do 506Bs for the accredited investors that we've gotten to know and we feel comfortable investing with, because there's just an added layer of risk there.
Mm-hmm.
Most of the deals we've done have been joint ventures, and then we've done quite a few, probably 15 syndications. So we've done quite a bit. That all being said, every deal we do is going to have some affordability aspect to it. It's going to fit the gap where grants and stuff fall off and workforce housing, naturally affordable housing gets left in the dust. It's going to look something like us buying a 50% occupied apartment complex that's 200 units or 250 units, renovating that, getting it up to 80 or 90% occupancy in a year to 2 years, doubling its value, and then refinancing, pulling all of our money out and holding on to the project.
So you still want to get your money back out, but you're not flipping it. You just want to keep it and let the milk. I call it milk the cow. Don't slaughter it.
That's exactly right. So, like we have a 506C fund right now, and it's based off what's called the infinite return model. So investors get all their money back in year 5 to 6, or by year 5 to 6. So the first 5 years they pay no taxes because you're just getting a return of capital, not a return on capital. Even though you have cash flow, it's zero taxes because it's just your money. And then at refinance, those proceeds that come back, again, just your capital. We buy another project in that fund, do the work. Now your money went over 2 deals. Now your money comes back in year 5 to 6. You've been cash flowing for all 5 years, 6 years. Now you got all your money back, and we're going to hold those projects for the next 15 years. And so you're going to get 20 years of cash flow potentially out of a single investment.
Because it's a fund. So when you cash out, unless they pull out, they get to stay in and make continuous money.
Yes, and they have $0 of their own money in the deal.
After the first cash out.
After the first cash out. That's right.
That's what I call it. That's what you call it. If that is infinite return, isn't it? Because
It's infinite return.
yeah,
You can't measure it. And so like people will keep asking me, well, Sam, what's your, annualized return? It's infinite. You have no money in the deal. There is no annualized return. But if it was, I was like, well, here's a chart that if you had money in the deal, that's what it would look like, because we have to do some math here so you can understand. But if you took $250,000 and you put it in the fund, and then in 5 years you get all your money back and you put it into another fund just like this with the same base returns, and you do this over the next 5 years, or 5 times, in 25 years, you're making, well, like it's like year 10, you're making over 100 grand a year. In year 25, you're making 300 something $1,000 a year in steady cash flow. And it's all tax advantage, because as we continue to buy properties, we do cost segregations. You get these big chunks of depreciation. So for the first 5-6 years, you pay no taxes. After that, you're just getting a small portion that's most likely going to be depreciated away. So it's possible you don't pay taxes for the first 10 years on these monies. I don't know exactly how it's going to be because I'm not Nostradamus. I don't know the future, but that's my expectation. Very little tax burden for many, many years because of depreciation. It's just going to keep helping you.
What? So if it's a fund, then you could, let's say work with a lot of people that are business owners. So they're growing their main enterprise, and we teach people to save 15-20% of their gross income, and then once you have your capital base, your emergency fund, now you want to deploy your capital in other things, right? So let's say started with a stake and they wanted to increase their stake. This is good. I need to put some more money in this baby. And can they do that? Can they start at one level? Well, whatever your minimum level is, but then all right, I got another 50,000, I got another 100,000, whatever the level is, and they could do that.
Yes and no. So this one will cap out at 3.75 million and it'll stop. We won't put any more money into that project. However, we're launching 2 funds a year, and they're 100% geared towards creating massive impact for decades. So not only will the money go to change communities and make them better, but long-term holds, high cash flow, and freedom. Like that's it. If we can't go there and buy a 20% occupied place that we can turn around and double in value and pull out all of our cash, or 90% of our cash, or 80% of our cash, and then put into another project and do it again, if we can't do that model, we won't do it. And this isn't the first time we've done that model. We do this model all the time. This is just the first time we've done it inside of a fund.
Interesting. I want to say, because we can do this offline or do it in another meeting, like because it's 2 different things. So it's the fund for non-accredited investor. Maybe I don't understand the letter. So if I don't understand, I know they don't understand it, right?
Yeah. So this fund is for accredited investors only.
Okay.
All right. And now if you're unaccredited, there's other things you can do out there. You can definitely reach out, and we'll chat about how, in time, when we have another offering that is for non-accredited investors, which we do probably 3 or 4 a year that are for non-accredited investors, that still do something similar.
So you want to be on their mailing list, right? But you don't, like, if it's your last whatever, you're not, don't call.
Don't call. Yeah.
Don't call.
Yeah.
You can't, it's not you can't, you're not trying to hit home runs. This has got to be with capital that you can lose, because there's no such thing as a no risk investment. All investment have risk. Okay. And you need to be liquid so that you're going to get a check back, right? Yes. Every month, but you need to be able to not touch it for at least 5 years. And so if you can't do that, you don't need to talk about, you're not ready yet. You got to let your money grow up a little bit more.
That's right. You're not ready yet. Now I do coach people in that circumstance on how to go out and get capital. There's a cost for that program. We teach them how to create, but it goes back to that same principle you just brought up of living off of 80% of your money, or 85% of your money. That's one of the principles that got me to where I am today, was living off of 90% and then 80% and then 75% and just chunking that money away. And then when I had enough money, I went out and bought commercial real estate.
and investing in your number one asset, which is you,
Yes.
right? Mindset, skill set, network. And
Yep.
then,
Before I invest in real estate, that's
right,
where the money
exactly.
was
So
going.
you, and then
Yeah.
you save 20% of your income or more, so
Mhm.
that when what is this? Success is when opportunity meets with preparation. So you
Yep.
prepared yourself so that you were ready. And then when you're ready, you had the capital, access to capital, and you could, because then it grows extra. So it goes really slow, and then,
Yes.
not like super fast, but you start to compound. Your efforts start to compound. And so I find, Sam, too many people are in too big a hurry.
They are. And to me, it's like, okay, you want to become a millionaire in 2 to 3 years, that there's a path for you to get there. It's a lot of work and it's challenging, but it's there.
Mm-hmm.
Most people don't do it because it's just too difficult. I did it. I could show you how to do it, but it would freaking work my guts out to get to
Mm-hmm.
it.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And made a lot of sacrifices, but that's what I wanted. And if that's what you truly want, then there's a path. Now, most people are going to say, I don't want to work that hard. I'm not going to give up every single evening. I'm never going to watch TV again because I'm just going to be learning, studying, and working.
Right.
And so if most people need to go with the save 20% of your income, put it away. So what I did was 10% went to charity and 10% went to me being into my account that I did not touch.
Mm-hmm.
My future, my family's future, that's where it went. And when it was ready, we went. We took action.
I love that. So, I want you to hear it, because it's, it's not these Instagram, I did this thing, and in 30 days you're going to be making 20 grand a month. I mean, it's most of the time that's not how it works. And so I want you to, and it's just like, Sam, it's just like, basketball. When I was playing when I was in middle school, I'll use George Gervin, right? Nobody knows who George Gervin is. They should know George Gervin is, but I'll say Kevin Durant for Kevin Durant, right? And but what I read when I was like 7th grade, he shot 600 shots a day. So he's one of the best scorers in the NBA. And but he did his reps. Steph Curry shoots 1,000 shots a day. Kobe used to do it, and it wasn't, sometimes one of them, it wasn't shots, it was makes, right? So you had to make it. So you get the muscle memory reflex. And so what Sam has done, and his family really, is they've done a lot of reps. I want y'all to not sleep on that. It's not so as operators, they've done a lot of reps. And if you're trying to learn to be a syndicator, or if you're just trying to grow your business and your personal portfolio, you've got to do the reps. There's no shortcut to success.
There's not. We did. Before I ever posted anything on LinkedIn, Instagram, or anything about syndication, we had probably done 10 of them. And really, the past year or so is when I really started getting active in LinkedIn. Now I have 5,000 followers. Great. I don't care about number of followers. What I care about is, can I help you make a difference in your life? If I can help make a difference in your life, I want to work with you. If not, good luck. I can point you in the direction that maybe you can go. But by now, now we've done 24 projects, and we're doing 3 right now. So that puts us at 27. So we've done lots and lots of reps. We've dealt with the legal issues. We've dealt with wonderfully happy investors, angry investors. We've done, like, I don't want to say everything, but we've done a lot.
Yeah. That's good stuff. That's what I want to hear. I want, people are going through the reps, and it's not all bright lights and glamour. And so that's real. And Sam, is there anything I should have asked you that I didn't ask you that you'd like to share? And then I want you to tell them how to follow you and find out what you're doing.
No, I just want to say to folks, I grew up poor. We used to take baths in a horse trough. Grew up in rural Oklahoma. Okay. And, joined the military because I couldn't figure out how to pay for college. Ended up getting 2 associate's degrees, a bachelor's degree, a master's degree, all of which is great, but not needed, right? It's helpful. I can definitely tell working with somebody who's well-educated versus somebody who's not. I can always tell.
Mm-hmm.
The difference, though, or the thing here is that the most important thing for any one of us to do is to figure out what it is that we want. What is it that we really want? Curtis, you would not be here if you never defined that you really wanted to be free.
Or wake up every day thinking about.
Yeah, that's right. Like that's real. That is real. We got to tell the truth, and we got
That's
to
my
be
driving
real.
force. See, is to be
Yeah.
free to do what I want when I want, and I don't want everybody to ever put the thumb, on me and try to squeeze me. That is a drive in. That's got to be like burning in your gut.
It has to be,
because I don't think you can go through any of this stuff if that's not your ultimate objective.
That's it.
Personally,
Me, I am so passionate about improving lives because I've seen such terrible things happen in people's lives. I've been there. I've been around it. You go to war, you see it, and you see it in these the poorest countries on the planet Earth, and I've seen it. And I'm like, I can make a difference. I can change. So it's deep in me. And so is freedom.
Right.
I love the military. I did not like the control of my life. And so those things I'm passionate about. And if those things you're passionate about, if you're passionate about freedom, true freedom, like listen to Curtis, right? Or come talk to me. Like there's a path to get there, but you are not going to get there if it's not deep in your bones. I mean, it's got to be in there. And I do this with my students all the time. Like, what drives you? Because guess what? Hell will come banging on your door.
Yep.
And are you going to get up an hour earlier in the morning so that you can achieve what you want to achieve? And if not, don't even get started. Just keep hanging out and watch TV.
Right. Exactly. That's exactly right. Yep. And And so including the course, but so tell them how they can follow you, and if you can help them and they can enroll in something that will help them. Because that to me, so I tell you, I'm the defensive coordinator, so I want y'all to get around people that I'm sure you talk about defense too, but it's like offense.
Yeah.
How do you make money? How do you get $1 million?
Yeah.
And I want, if you are resonating with Sam and his philosophy and you want to make money and make a difference at the same time, then here's your coach. He's your coach.
Yeah. Yeah. In fact, I don't know of any other commercial real estate or syndication coach that teaches this stuff.
Me either.
I met
I've been doing this 5
years.
I've met a lot of people, right? So yeah.
Met a lot of them. Yeah. And we don't just help people with commercial real estate. I just helped a micro school source $200,000, did it in 10 days, getting them set up so they can launch their a new school that focuses on people with kids who are in sports, like kids who are in sports, like they have to go to public school. It's the only way. Well, this is another option. Anyhow, where you can find me, LinkedIn is a great place to find me. Message me. My team is super active on messaging and so forth on LinkedIn, and just Samuel Sells. And you can find me on Instagram, Clean Money Sam. I don't post a lot there. I'm about to start posting a lot more on Instagram, Clean Money Sam. You can go to one of my websites. I have wildmountaincapital.com, which is our main company. We have Impact Growth Capital, impactgrowthcap.com. That's just for our funds. And then you can find me on syndicationlaunch.com if you want to learn how to raise money, get started, go from nothing. I went from $30,000 to $30 million in 3 years. And then on to hit 50 and then $70 million over the next 2 years. So from 30 grand to $70 million in 4-ish years. That's with COVID happening. That's with everything else happening. We still did it. So like, if that's something that resonates with you and you want to grow up to be Curtis, free, sitting in his chair, talking with people and clients and helping make a difference in their lives, I would love to help you do that. Because I'm very much offensive. Get out there, get after it. Let's make some money. And let's go LFG.
That's right.
Let's go.
Let's go. So I'm gonna let that be the final word. So Sam, thank you so much. We're gonna put all of his links in the show notes. And so if you're hearing this, guys, and you know somebody like, God, you got to hear this. So I want you to forward this to them. We'll put it out on LinkedIn, forward this to them. And, leave us a comment. If you're watching us on YouTube, like it, share it, subscribe to, right?
Yeah.
And so we can keep content like this going, folks. It's hard to win a game you don't know the rules, right? And most of us, when it comes to money, we either play by the wrong rules or we don't know the rules at all. And I think that one of the things I was at a conference with Tom Wheelwright, and he says, listen, the tax law or tax code, he said code is another word for map, and it's incentives, right? And so it incents, so the government needs housing, seeing clean, safe, affordable housing. And so what I hear, Sam's carved out a niche of really helping people that nobody feels like being bothered with. There's money there, but there's a little bit of work, but you got to work at everything, right? So, and so it's absolutely brilliant, Sam. I thank you so much for coming on and sharing your story, your message with our listeners. It's so awesome.
Absolutely. Anytime, Curtis. Thank you.
Yes, my pleasure. Are you ready to take control of your financial future? Hi there. I'm Curtis May, and I'm here to help you achieve your financial goals. Do you want to be the customer bank, or would you like to be the bank? Subscribe to our channel for regular updates, valuable insights from experts in different fields. The name of the game, guys, is cash flow. Okay. You can't eat equity. And our goal is to help you build, we call it being a cash flownaire, which is passive income twice your expenses outside of Wall Street, where possible, right? It is quite possible. And so if you're interested in learning more about our services, here is what I challenge you to do, or I invite you to do, I won't say challenge, is to take our financial freedom quiz. See where you are, okay? Don't wait any longer to take control of your financial future. Let's begin this journey together.